Hello, welcome back to more Planet Coaster. So we're back today on the final part of this Christmas series. I just realised in the top that after editing that needs to go up longer, but it's people might see, people might not. Anyway, the Ride POV thing, because there is a Ride POV at the end of this video, but that's going to come later. But yeah, this is a fun episode. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. And if you don't celebrate, then I hope you had a good 25th, I guess. Um, and here's to the new year. Hopefully, you guys got some big plans or resolutions that you can follow or try to follow. You know, people don't really ever follow resolutions. They try to, but they don't always follow them. This was originally meant to go up on Boxing Day, but I kind of got caught up in family stuff because of the time of year it is. So I actually wasn't able to get this last episode recorded and out for you guys. But we'll have it here ready for the new year. I think I'm going to put this up on New Year's Eve, is when you'll see this. So here's to 2025. If you've had a rough year, hopefully your 2025 is better. And if you had a good 2024 year, let's hope that continues to 2025. As for me, as for my major plans in 2025, I don't really have any. I don't really make resolutions. I very rarely follow them. But I don't really have that many plans. I haven't really thought about it. Maybe I'll think about it later on. But right now, I don't have any plans. But so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap up this holiday coaster. Do the final detail ins, and then, like I mentioned, there'll be the POVs at the bottom at the end of the video. So we started by just putting some snow on some roofs. That's kind of where I started this whole episode. Again, this is about, I want to say 6-7 hours of footage combined into one 40-minute, half an hour episode. So I sped up by like 10 times, 11 times. I don't remember the details. I can't remember. But these snow piles I'm using are actually from Theme Maker's Toolkit, from somebody that made it. I couldn't tell you who it was. I downloaded them a long time ago, and then when I saw them, I was like, sweet, they'll work out fine. Obviously, it's hard because things don't always line up correctly. So it can look a little bit janky in places, but you know, it is what it is. So we started by to decorate the coaster station. That was kind of where I wanted to start. I wanted to have some kind of like frosty archway that you go through, just because to me it made the most sense, and I thought it would look good. But right now I'm just doubling up all of the frosting. So I'm trying to get the image of like if I was a child making gingerbread houses, or if you were a child making gingerbread houses, how would you make them look? You'd have a lot of frosting or icing, whatever you want to call it, and you'd cover it in sweets and chocolate. I would at least. I don't know about you guys. I wanted to add that kind of style into this, that kind of mindset into this building. Obviously, Winter Star is very difficult. I find it. I struggle with detailing. Full stop. Those that I've watched my other Planet Coaster videos and even my Planet Zoo videos, I'm really bad at detailing. Never been able to do it. I'm good at getting the base down, and I'm good at placing scenery like plants and stuff. But decorating it, all the buildings, not my cup of tea. I'm really not that good at it. I'm relatively decent at making coasters, and I'm good, like I said, getting good at base blueprints. I'm good at being creative and having like this creative view, but actually making that come alive in game, like I have it imagined in my brain, it doesn't happen. So I started by trying to add some kind of like snow on these tips. I say tips, that's not what I meant. Like these curved roofs, kind of like towers, and then I just couldn't find any snow that would cover it correctly, so I just went ahead and went flat. I know, boring and plain, but it just made the most sense functionally anyway. But it's fine. So we go ahead and we just do that, and I try a couple of things, try and make these towers look a little bit more interesting. So there you go. Then I get the snow. I think I end up getting rid of, you see I've got the walls around the outside, I'm pretty sure I end up getting rid of them. I can't remember the details, but I think, yeah, I did get rid of them, and then I expanded this amount. So we did that, we had a tower, and then we started continuing, like, for the first start of this episode, you'll just see me putting snow on the rooftops of stuff. That's kind of what I did for the whole like first hour or two. Obviously you're not going to see an hour worth of that, but at the time, that's how much it was. And these buildings, I really hated them. I was never happy with the way I did them, but I just couldn't think of a way to correct them and make them look decent. Um, so they do end up staying. I make a couple of changes to them so they look a little bit better, but not a ton. Um, I like the whole bridge. The whole bridge idea is great, but I think I think the problem that I had was because I was the thing is like because I'm sticking to that one style of oh let's all be wintry and festive. There isn't a lot of decorations for that, so decorating buildings can kind of get difficult, especially when you're using gingerbread as well and not anything else. You kind of get to the point where it's like, um, well, this is going to look the same as this, that's going to look the same as that. It becomes very difficult very quickly. Um, But the crazy thing is that I've done whole entire parks like this, which I don't know how I managed to pull that off, but I did. Um, it's quite crazy to me that I wasn't able to do that in the past. I'm glad that I didn't try that again this time. I think I've learnt from my previous attempts that it's not going to work like that. It's very what's the word? It gets very difficult, very repetitive, and I hate repetitiveness. Obviously, when I'm limited, can't I can't expect there to be no repetitiveness. But I like to limit as much as I can, or at least try to. Um, but we do our best. So yeah, so to start with, I use these like snow lumps. They become a big part of my building. So I did have custom theme makers toolkit items I was using, which fit perfectly. But because they were theme makers toolkit, they weren't the same color and texture, so you could really notice one was like much whiter than the other. It didn't look right. So the way to fix that was to completely get rid of um, using the theme makers toolkit. So we didn't end up using that in the end. I wanted to add a bit of detail on the edge of those toilets. They looked a bit plain for me, so I wanted to add a little bit. So we just added a couple of candy canes and then the bow. And we have the tinsel. So this tinsel and these string lights become a big part of my decoration. Nearly every building has those or something similar. So here, what I did try to do is I tried to get like a mini kids machine in here, just so that if a kid didn't want to go on a roller coaster whilst their parents were here and they were with other family members, they could go on this ride instead. But I could place it down, but I couldn't get the queue pass working. It was too cramped. There was nowhere for them to really go. I could have built up and over, but then I'd have to detail a bridge. So I went ahead and just decided I was going to put a couple more buildings in, rather than adding a whole new ride. So as you can, from here we added a couple more buildings. I didn't want the buildings to be too big. I wanted to be relatively small, so they're quite easy to detail. They wouldn't take up a ton of space. They look simple, good. So I didn't really have that many simple, smaller buildings. They're all quite big. So these were perfect to add. And then I had this empty space, and I got this nativity set, and I was like, oh, this would be perfect. And I realized I had all of this land and this giant, yeah, open area just above the cave. So again, this is made by somebody else, Theme Maker's Toolkit. Well, it's got some Theme Maker's Toolkit item, but obviously it's made from basic shapes. I did not make. I do have my own nativity set that I made, but I couldn't save it as a blueprint, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Otherwise, I would have used that instead. I'm sure I could find it if I really look, but I don't know. Maybe I will find it, maybe I won't. So I ended up using that instead. It's made of basic shapes. The one I have is made of basic shapes too. It's not quite as. It's a lot smaller as well in size. So here we started decorating the coaster a bit more. So as you can see from the video, I kept going back and forth between buildings. That's because if I get stuck building just one building, I kind of get burnt out. I like to switch between buildings, switch between what I'm doing. Obviously, I'm decorating the whole time, but like switch between how I'm decorating different areas because yeah, I get burnt out, I get bored, and I kind of just lose all want and motivation to keep going. So you'll see that I'll switch between buildings. I think toward the end, I kind of like stuck with whatever building I was doing. I realised I didn't really have many sweets, and I thought, well, sweets and candy, for those of you that aren't from the UK, are a big part of Christmas and festivities. Every child gets some kind of candy, or wants to get candy, or sweets, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to say sweets, but yeah, I'll say sweets. I usually say sweets anyway, depending on who I'm talking to. So having sweets up just made sense. So I got some jelly beans, and some jelly tots. If you know what those are, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then they're just like gummy, circular sweets with like a soft. They're quite chewy. They're really nice. And then of course jelly beans. Jelly beans are known pretty much everywhere. I wanted to add a few colours to these. For those of you that have had jelly beans and jelly tots, you get different colours. And I was thinking, well, if I'm a child and I'm decorating my house with jelly beans and jelly tots, what would I do? And I was like, I know, I would just get all the colours and I would just stick them on. And that's kind of what I went for here. Does it look good? Not really. It doesn't look bad, it doesn't look good, but based on the style I was going for, it worked. I really wanted to get some kind of candy in, some kind of sweets in, just because it makes sense at Christmas time. You have a decent amount of festive stuff, but it's just lots of sweets, which are great. But they're not so great when you aren't really going for that theme. You know, if I was going for that theme, then yeah, I'd cover everything in sweets. I would use things like wafers and whatnot to actually make buildings and decorate buildings. So these holly strips, I wanted them all to be one color. For a long time, I was just using the standard, as you can see, the blue, green, yellow, and red default colors, which was great. On some buildings, I stick to that, but there are a lot of buildings that I change the lights up because I think to myself, at Christmas time, different, especially me, and maybe not you guys, but when my mum did our Christmas decorations, back when I was younger, each room would have a different color combination. So one would have green and red, one would have gold and purple, or gold and blue, or gold and green, and then another would have silver and blue, and then such and such. And I was like, I wanted to kind of stick to that, so I wanted each item that I was going to use throughout the path to have one specific colour. So I went for the standard silver and light blue. It suits and fits in most situations. So it kind of become part of it. So we start detailing our first mini building. I just added some snow lumps there as if children were in the process of getting ready to make a snowman, but didn't. And we started lighting this up. I changed to completely gold. For those of you that don't know, there are warm lights which you can use at Christmas time. I actually have them up right now. And I kind of wanted to have like warm lights around this building, so that's what we did. So I repeat the pattern on both sides. It's annoying because those roofs that I was using don't quite reach. Like, are a little bit taller than the rope lights that I was using. So I had to like combine smaller ones and bigger ones. As with a lot of my buildings, I have frosting at the peak of roofs, just to show as if a child was like combining the two halves of the roof together with icing and holding it there to stick. If you've made gingerbread houses, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's kind of what I was going with there. And then I had some empty space, so we just added a few bushes, a couple of trees, and all of this path. It was all path, and originally I was going to fence it all off, which would have been nice, but fencing in this game, like when you make custom fences, it takes a very, very long time. And as I was recording this, I was kind of on a time limit. I was kind of short on time. This was a span made over the course of about a week. But I really wanted to get this video out and uploaded by New Year. And if I spent all the time fencing this off, I wouldn't have the content ready and done for New Year's. So I went with rocks. It doesn't look bad, it doesn't look great, but yeah, in the future I'll try and make more time for that kind of thing. And one thing that I also need to remember to do in the future is, like in my previous episodes, as you saw that I pathed, I don't really what I should do is I should build the station, build the paths, so they're all smooth and nice and they all work, and then build the coaster. Rather than building the station, building the coaster, and then building the path around the coaster, because it can lead to poor pathing. So if this is this will be a blueprint, but sadly there will be no in-depth guide on how to path it correctly. You kind of have to, if you want to download it and use this in your park or whatever, you kind of have to make the path up yourself. But in the future, I'm going to learn to, especially in Planet Coaster 2, I want to learn to build a coaster station, then build the pathing, or maybe not build the whole coaster, build the first part of the coaster and then the pathing. Basically, I want to make sure that I build the pathing before I finish the coaster blueprint or the entire coaster, because like I said, as you can see, this path kind of led to me look really bad, especially on the inside. I did want to detail the inside as well. We paused it because I think I was tapped out looking at something, by the way. That's why it's just frozen here. But I did want to detail the inside of this. Again, I ran out of time. Simply, I think as I was recording this, it was Christmas Eve. I think I was recording this, like the last couple of hours of this entire video. And on Christmas Day, I was obviously at my parents', and I had the original goal of Boxing Day having a video uploaded. But when Boxing Day came around, that's when I edited the video. I say edited the video, sped up the video, added the 6 hours of content and made it half an hour, condensed it and stuff, and then edited it and stuff basically on Boxing Day, and then it came to 27th and the 28th. I think we're on what day we're on today? What day is it I'm recording this? I'm recording this on the 29th, so literally a couple of days before New Year's Eve. I say recording, I'm recording the voiceover of this video. But yeah, and then between Boxing the 27th and today, I was caught up doing other stuff, mostly doing stuff with my other half because she was away she was away the 23rd through to the 26th at her parents, and she got back and wanted to do stuff with me, so that's why it took so long to get to this part of the video. But I got a bit of time now to get this last bit done. So this building, we add the windows, and I think I went for, is this just plain blue? I think this is completely blue lights and windows. These holly leaves were really good at any kind of pointed roof, like gable. They were really good. They sat nicely at the top. So I tried to use those quite a lot. And then here we just had a simple light. I haven't really used many of these Christmas lights. I've used obviously the string lights with the ones that are curved. But these stars and the bauble, I haven't really used much of, because I don't know, I felt like they just didn't look right in certain places. There's only certain positions where they're like, yeah, that works there. But not all. I added a bunch of these wraiths and hollies, and I tried to do some kind of pattern here. It didn't work. I tried so hard, and it just looked bad. So we do go ahead and we do make the whole thing, and then I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that looks wrong. Looks awful. Especially when I tried this. I don't know what I was thinking there. I thought, oh, maybe I can make it look a bit nicer. And yeah, I just completely scrapped it, and I kind of just left it pretty much like that. It looked best. I added this arch, kind of similar to the train station. It just made sense to have this here. It helped add a bit more to the building without being too much. I kind of wish I used less holly rays and stuff, but you know, it's that's how it is. And then here I just make a couple of standard windows. So this was all a very basic building, nothing too much detail. And this would realistically, if this was real life, not this bit, or I guess this bit would be lightly decorated. It wouldn't be majorly decorated. But these, adding these string lights around the border, although it's quite samey, it adds so much to the building. It's kind of crazy. So we just literally outline a bunch of stuff with this. it just looked best out of everything that I tried. And I tried more of these lights. Oh, I did that on that side, so maybe I can do them on the other side. I think I just added that one star, and then I was like, what do we have here? And I was like, oh, do you know what? We have gingerbread men. Let's make like a little gingerbread family. And I thought it looked good. It was very cool. Nothing too fancy, nothing too in depth. And then I saw these carolers, and I was like, do you know what? There's empty space here. These would be perfect. A couple of carolers, a couple of nutcrackers, some trees, presents, snowman. You'd have this kind of cool little wintry festive scene. Um, and trying a few things with the snowman. Um, so we went ahead and I decided that would be best. So these pipes make really good eyes. I mean, they're not the best. I just cheated in the end. Yeah, there you go. It just looked better. Um, yeah, it's just a nice caroler scene to have. And just, yeah, a couple of trees. You see those white birch trees? They are actually Theme Maker's Toolkit. They are not part of the default game. But I thought they made a really good. They look really good in most situations. And yeah, just a couple presents, and then that just made it nice. You see, so actually, there's a random cut. So that I think that was the first scene that I recorded, and then this is the second part that I recorded of the 6 hour like video. I think that first part was like an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of content, and then I made the second one. I think this one's significantly smaller. But we had all these backstage buildings. I say backstage, not backstage buildings, but these buildings would be not super highly decorated, but very simply decorated. Nothing too intense. But you wouldn't leave them blank. That's the thing, because there's very little texture on gingerbread, and that's another thing that I find with buildings is I really struggle with buildings that have a lot of open space, like in the middle. Like here, you see, there was like gingerbread open space, and my brain was like, nah, I don't like that, so I had to add a window to cover it up. So I struggle with that a lot. I don't really like too much empty space at all, whether it's in my buildings or whether it's in scenery. I'm pretty sure I've explained that to you guys before as well. And then these little, I don't know what this kind of pattern is, but it looked good. So I built it a couple of times. Yeah, it just looked good. So here we tabbed out again. I think I was looking at like different ways that I could. I think I was like googling festive images on the internet at this point, just to find out if I had like anything that would give me inspiration. Sorry, I had to take a drink. So we have this tower. Just basic, simple detailing. Obviously, I couldn't leave it blank, so I had to detail it. I think we've got this icing, which is great, but I want straight lines. You know. Oh, we've got to move it. And here we've tapped out a bit more. What am I looking at? Again, probably looking at images. Well, I want to get these towers wrapped up, so they wanted a bit more, so I decided that I would add a couple of these more of these string lights. They're not called string lights. What are they actually called in game? Fairy lights? Don't remember what they're called in game. Can't remember. But so this whole station and any building attached to the station stuck with the standard blue, green, red, and yellow lights. Later on, as more buildings separate from each other, I added more and more like color variation. So like this building, I added color variation. I just had a few windows here. Nothing too much. It's just I had all that blank space and I just didn't know what to do with it, and I was running out of like materials I could use. One thing I did do is this reef went all the way around the border of the bridge, the buildings, both along the middle and along the top. So all of those surrounded the entire building. Both buildings, that is, and like I said, the bridge. This bit didn't take that long, but it's just tedious to like replicate it. I think I ended up moving these bridges. So I think I made some changes. Yeah, I moved that back a bit and I moved all this snow back, so I could continue this. There we go. And then we went ahead and we did this one. So this is all that light blue and grey. Was it? Yeah, light blue and grey color all the way around, like so. And then other than that, I don't remember. Oh yeah, and I added dual string lights. I added the fairy light string lights, whatever you want to call them as well. Around every building. So you see there's a tree there, so that whole corner was covered by a tree or a couple of trees, so I didn't really detail it that much because I didn't need to, because the tree kind of covered up a large amount of it. So I tried not to worry about it too much. Kind of just left it mostly blank. I felt the size needed a little bit more, so I added these little squiggly, whatever you want to call them, zigzags. And then I wanted to add like a tiny bit of, a bit more, just to separate the top a little bit from the sides. These me little like flower things worked out. So I kept them. Yeah, there you go. So string lights went literally everywhere. As you can see, you have music in the background now, because we're getting close to the end. I think these were the last couple of buildings that I did, and then I did a couple of other bits, and then that was pretty much where we ended off. I think I changed a couple of lights. I can't remember. But we're pretty much getting close to the end now. So I surround this whole building with these string lights. I repeat the pattern on both sides, because I meant to be one giant building connected. So it just made the most sense to kind of have a similar pattern going on between both of them. Other than that, I don't think they get much more detail. Yeah, lace the top, and this is all just standard blue. I saw I changed the colors to like a grey and blue, but maybe not actually. I think I just get blue in the end. And side note, the music in the background is made by a composer who makes copyright for music. His name is Kevin MacLeod or MacLeod, I don't know how you pronounce it. Those of you that have been in the copyright music industry or looked for copyright music for a long time will know exactly who he is. So go ahead and check him out. Yeah, so I wanted a quick look at how everything looked at nighttime. And I decided that this building needed to change the colours, so I changed it to like a purple and silver, to purple and grey. But yeah, I think this is the last thing that I did, or at least one of the last few things I did. But that is pretty much it for this mini-series. We'll go ahead and we'll see the POVs in a little bit. But for now, enjoy the rest of the time lapse and enjoy the music, and I shall catch you all later.